In this video, I'm going to tell you kung ano ba ang bank reconciliation, bakit ba natin ito kailangan, and what are the steps to do it, Dude Parechong, and we're starting right now. What's up, Dude Parechong? My name is Ron from the CPA Recipe and I'm a certified public accountant. If this is your first time in this channel and if you're looking for fun, engaging, and easy to understand tutorial videos about accounting and related topics, you've come to the right place. So start now by hitting the like button, sharing this video to your news feed, and hitting the subscribe and bell notification icons so you won't miss anything. So without further ado, welcome to Accounting Heist Episode 8. I remember, Dude Parechong, noong nag-aaral pa ako, hindi ko magets kung bakit kailangan ang bank reconciliation. Now, if you have the same question, I'm going to give you a background first kung bakit ba natin kailangan ng bank reconciliation. First of all, Dude Parechong, in the business world, we don't use physical cash as a mode of payment. So, Dude Parechong, when you purchase for instance an equipment worth 500,000 for cash, it doesn't mean na pupunta ka sa isang tindahan na may bitbit kang maleta na puno ng pera. In the real world, Dude Parechong, there are thousands of transactions happening within a year and some of these transactions involve very significant amounts of cash. At alam naman natin, Dude Parechong, na ang pera medyo mainit yan sa mata at prone sa nakawan, so hindi siya practical. Accordingly, businesses open accounts in banks and settlements of transaction are often done through checks or sa Tagalog, cheque, and we also have electronic modes of settlements like for instance, fund transfers. At dahil dito, we have what we call the cash in bank account aside from the cash on hand account. To illustrate, let's assume that the CPA Recipe opens a bank account, particularly a current account or in other words, a demand deposit account with Goliath National Bank. The bank will then maintain an account to monitor the entity's deposit, which from the bank's point of view is a liability dahil the bank incurs the obligation to return the money of the depositor upon demand. In short, Dude Parechong, the bank has a liability to return the cash of the depositor in the future. Now, as you can see, the cash in bank account of the CPA Recipe has a mirror account in the books of Goliath National Bank. Ideally, in a perfect scenario, Dude Parechong, as transactions occur, they will be reflected in both the cash in bank account of the CPA Recipe and the liability account in the books of the Goliath National Bank, such that their ending balances ideally should be equal. However, Dude Parechong, this is not the case. Now, bakit ito nangyayari? There are three reasons, Dude Parechong. First is omission from the accounting books of the depositor. Omission, Dude Parechong, meaning these are transactions that are already recorded by the bank pero hindi pa recorded ng depositor dahil hindi pa siya aware or hindi pa niya alam na may mga transaction pala na ganito. Malalaman lang ng depositor, Dude Parechong, ang mga transactions na ito kapag nakita na niya ang bank statement. So ano ba ang bank statement? Now, ang mga bangko, they periodically send to its account owners or depositors a bank statement which is a report covering a specific time period containing the detailed movements in the account like deposits, withdrawals, additions, deductions, charges, as well as the beginning and closing balances. Ito ang ginagamit natin, Dude Parechong, para ma-check or makita kung lahat ba ng deposits at disbursements as recorded per accounting books ay reflected sa bank records. At para makita din natin, Dude Parechong, kung meron ba tayong transaction sa bank records na hindi pa reflected sa accounting books. Now, to illustrate, a simplistic representation of a bank statement will look something like this. Now, the second reason kung bakit hindi nagtutugma ang balanse ng cash in bank at ng bank records ay due to timing differences. Now, sa mga bangko, Dude Parechong, it usually takes a period of time bago mag-reflect ang deposits at encashment of checks. Thus, for instance, Dude Parechong, ang isang cheque na collected by the depositor on January 30 for instance, ay deposited sa bangko ng January 31. Malamang sa February bank statement mo na yun makikita. Also, for instance, Dude Parechong, Possible na nakagawa ka na ng cheque at naibigay mo na sa supplier mo or sa payee. Pero si supplier or si payee, Dud Pare-chong, madami pa siyang pera so hindi siya excited mag-encash. Kaya ang nangyari dito, Dud Pare-chong, sa accounting books mo, naka-record na siya as disbursement, pero dahil hindi pa ito presented sa bangko for encashment, hindi pa nababawasan ang bank balance mo. Now, the third reason kung bakit posibleng magkaiba ang balance per book at balance per bank ay dahil sa errors or pagkakamali sa recording na pwedeng magawa either ng depositor or ng bangko. Now, etong mga causes of differences na ito, Dud Pare-chong, ang nire-reconcile natin sa bank reconciliation. Ginagawa natin ang bank reconciliation para malaman natin ang correct cash balance na ire-report natin sa statement of financial position. Also, Dud Pare-chong, the preparation of bank reconciliation statement may also detect errors or fraud involving cash. In fact, isa ito sa mga tinatawag nating internal control na mapag-aaralan mo, Dud Pare-chong, in your higher accounting subjects. So how do we prepare a bank reconciliation statement? There are actually 3 types of bank reconciliation, Dud Pare-chong. First is the adjusted balance method, in which case the unadjusted balances of the accounting books and the bank statement are reconciled to obtain the correct cash balance or the adjusted cash balance. Second is the book-to-bank method, in which case the unadjusted book balance is made to equal the unadjusted bank balance. And lastly, the bank-to-book method, in which case the unadjusted bank balance is made to equal the unadjusted book balance. But before we go into that, let's discuss first the types of reconciling items. First, Dud Pare-chong, is the book reconciling item, meaning these are the transactions that are already reflected by the bank but not yet recorded by the depositor. So meaning we have to add or deduct from the unadjusted book balance to arrive at the correct cash balance. Under the book reconciling items, we have the credit memos, meaning these are the transactions that are already credited by the bank to the depositor's account. So to properly reflect in the books, we have to add to the unadjusted book balance. Ang example nito, Dud Pare-chong, for instance, ay ang mga notes receivable na directly na kolekta na ng bangko on behalf of the depositor. Pwede rin dito, Dud Pare-chong, for instance, if may time deposit ang depositor with the same bank, tapos nag-mature na at kinredit na ng bangko sa current account ng depositor ang proceeds ng time deposit na nag-mature. Also possible din dito, Dud Pare-chong, ang interest income ng depositor na automatic nang kinredit ng bangko sa account ng depositor. Now, we also have debit memos, Dud Pare-chong, meaning these are the transactions that are already debited by the bank to the depositor's account. So to properly reflect in the books, we have to deduct from the unadjusted book balance. Ang example nito, for instance, Dud Pare-chong, NSF check or yung mga cheque na wala palang pondo, Dud Pare-chong. So pwede kasing sa accounting books, Dud Pare-chong, recorded na to as deposit or collection. Pero wala palang pondo, so nalaman lang ng depositor noong natanggap niya yung bank statement. So kasama rin dito, Dud Pare-chong, sa debit memo yung mga bank service charges at interest expense or whatever debits, no, na pwedeng i-charge ng bangko directly sa account ni depositor. Next, we also have the bank reconciling items, meaning these are the transactions that are already reflected in the depositor's books but not yet recorded by the bank. So meaning, Dud Pare-chong, we have to add or deduct from the unadjusted bank balance in order to arrive at the correct cash balance. So under the bank reconciling items, Dud Pare-chong, we have what we call the deposit in transit. Ito, Dud Pare-chong, yung mga items na for instance, naka-receive na ang the CPA recipe ng cheque, recorded na ito sa journal pero it's either na-deposit na pero hindi pa nagki-clear sa bangko or totally hindi pa na-deposit. Next is what we call the outstanding checks. Meaning, ito naman yung mga cheque na na-release na natin sa payee pero hindi pa niya ine-encash kaya hindi pa nababawas sa bank balance. Or pwede rin na na-present na for encashment pero hindi pa nagki-clear sa bangko. Now, I'm going to show you first how to prepare the bank reconciliation statement using the adjusted balance method. Let's assume the following details. As you can see, Dud Pare-chong, I have here the cash receipts and cash disbursements of the CPA recipe for the month of January 2020. For the cash receipts, Dud Pare Chong, meron tayong deposit slip numbers as reference for our deposits and check numbers naman for our cash disbursements. So for illustration purposes, ginawa kong madaling tandaan, Dud Pare Chong. It starts with DS for deposits while CV naman for disbursements. So ngayon naman, Dud Pare Chong, na-receive na natin ang bank statement from Goliath National Bank. So ito naman yun. As you can see, Dud Pare Chong, presented dito sa bank statement if anong deposit slip number or check number ang nakaapekto sa bank balance ng the CPA recipe. On top of that, may mga other items rin na nakaapekto sa ating bank balance. Now, let's prepare the bank reconciliation using the adjusted balance method. So ako, Dud Pare Chong, personally, I prefer to begin with the unadjusted bank balance. And the reason for that is that usually mas konti ang reconciling item kapag inuna mo ang side ng bangko. There's just the deposit in transit and the outstanding checks. Moreover, Dud Pare Chong, if ever naman na merong error sa side ng bangko, which is very rare, no, Dud Pare Chong, hindi mo kailangan gawan yun ng adjusting entry. You simply have to communicate with the bank regarding their errors if meron man, no? Pero it's really rare. However, Dud Pare Chong, this is a matter of preference. You can start with the unadjusted book balance kung gugustuhin mo, no? So now, to begin, first we have to plot the unadjusted bank balance which makukuha natin sa ating bank statement. Yung nasa dulo, Dud Pare Chong, sa balance column, 1,310,000. So let's plot. Next, we have to identify the amount of deposits in transit. So sa mga libro, Dud Pare Chong, usually given na itong amount na ito, no, as a lump sum. Pero in real life, Dud Pare Chong, you have to trace kung aling deposits na ba yung nag-clear sa bank statement. Meaning, iisa-isahin mo yung reference numbers and amounts. So in real life, Dud Pare Chong, it is usually a part of the accounting procedures to maintain a filing of the official receipts and deposit slips dahil magagamit mo ito sa pag-match kung anong deposito na ba ang nag-clear sa bangko. Now, dito sa ating simple illustration, Dud Pare Chong, kung babalikan mo ang cash receipts book, we have reference numbers of DS101 to 105. However, kapag tinignan mo, Dud Pare Chong, yung bank statement, mapapansin mo na nawawala ang DS105 sa bank statement. Ibig sabihin, Dud Pare Chong, hindi pa siya nag-clear sa bangko. Deposit in transit siya. So we have to add yung deposit in transit na 10,000 pesos sa unadjusted bank balance. So now we have a total of 1,320,000. Now, we have to identify the amount of the outstanding checks. To reiterate, these are the disbursements that are already recorded in the accounting books of the depositor pertaining to checks that are already released to the payee but not yet presented to the bank for payment. So sa mga libro din, no, usually ito ay given na lump sum na amount. Pero in real life, Dud Pare Chong, you also have to trace which checks, no, kung anong cheque na ba ang nag-clear na sa bank statement. So kung babalikan mo yung cash disbursements book natin kanina, we have reference numbers of CV101 to 105. However, Dud Pare Chong, kapag chinek mo yung bank statement, hindi mo makikita ang CV102 and CV105. Ibig sabihin, Dud Pare Chong, outstanding check pa ang mga ito. So we have to deduct CV102 and CV105 with amounts 20,000 and 2,000 respectively sa ating unadjusted balance. Now, wala namang sinabi na other reconciling item for the bank balance. So ito na yun, Dud Pare Chong. The adjusted cash balance is 1,298,000. Now, Dud Pare Chong, we're going to do the bank reconciliation sa point of view naman ng accounting books ng depositor. So the first step, of course, is to plot the unadjusted book balance. Now, ito lang yung balance sa cash in bank ledger natin, Dud Pare Chong. So kung babalikan mo siya, makikita mo doon, the balance is 863,000 pesos. Next, Dud Pare Chong, we simply have to check the bank statement for items that are not yet recorded in the depositor's books. So balikan natin yung bank statement. Obvious na obvious naman, Dud Pare Chong, di ba? Kitang-kita agad kung alin ang naiiba ang reference. Nakalagay na dyan, Dud Pare Chong, CM Loan, NSF DS103, CM Interest, at DMSC. So obviously, Dud Pare Chong, CM stands for Credit Memo, NSF stands for Not Sufficient Fund, DM stands for Debit Memo, while SC stands for Service Charge. So now, all we have to do is plot these items sa ating bank reconciliation. So credit memo, Dud Pare Chong, ibig sabihin, credited na by the bank. Remember, sa point of view ng bangko, the account they are using is a liability account. Meaning, credit ang normal balance. So kapag tinaasan ng bangko ang balanse ng depositor, ibig sabihin, kine-credit nila. That's why it's called a credit memo. So sa ating cash in bank account, which is the mirror account, we have to add these credit memos. So we plot 500,000 and 10,000 for the loan and interest respectively. Now, we have a total of 1,373,000. Now, to reiterate, the NSF check is already recorded as a receipt in the book of the depositor. Pero dahil ni-reject ito ng bangko, ibig sabihin in effect, Dud Pare Chong, wala talaga tayong nakolekta kasi walang pondo ang cheque. So dahil dyan, we have to deduct from the book balance. So less 70,000. Next, for the service charge, obviously, Dud Pare Chong, this is an expense, no? So malamang kailangan nating bawasan ng ating cash in bank balance by 5,000 for the service charge. At ayan, dahil wala nang ibang reconciling item, Dud Pare Chong, ito na ang adjusted cash balance. So kung mapapansin mo, Dud Pare Chong, pareho sila nang na-compute natin na adjusted balance kanina. So dapat pareho yan, Dud Pare Chong. Kapag magkaiba yan, definitely may mali kang nagawa. Now, tip ko lang sa'yo, Dud Pare Chong, if ito ay exam under time pressure at ang hinihingi sa'yo ay adjusted cash balance, you don't have to do both perspective. So pwedeng yung bank point of view lang ang gawin mo or yung depositor's point of view, whichever you prefer. However, gaya ng sabi ko, Dud Pare Chong, ako personally, I would choose the bank's point of view. Pero well, that is a matter of preference. Now, hindi pa tayo tapos, Dud Pare Chong. We need to prepare adjusting entries for the book reconciling items. Take note, Dud Pare Chong ha, only for the book reconciling items ang gagawan ng adjusting entry. And in this example, these are the loan collection, interest collection, NSF check, and service charge. Wala tayong access para pakialaman ng books ng bangko, Dud Pare Chong. We merely performed bank reconciliation sa point of view ng bank balance for reconciling purposes. So now, to prepare the entry. For the loan proceeds, meaning nangutang tayo, we simply debit cash in bank, credit loans payable for 500,000. Next, for the interest income, we debit cash in bank, credit interest income, 10,000. For the NSF check, we add back to accounts receivable. So we debit accounts receivable and then we credit cash in bank for 70,000. Lastly, for the service charge, we can simply debit bank service charge and credit cash in bank for 5,000. Now, kung isa-summarize mo ngayon, Dud Pare Chong, ang iyong cash in bank ledger, mapapansin mo na equal na ito sa adjusted cash balance na na-compute natin sa ating adjusted balance method, which is gaya ng nasabi ko kanina, one of the objectives of preparing a bank reconciliation is to establish the correct cash balance at the end of each period. Now, the next thing that we're going to do is the book-to-bank method. Basically, what we're aiming here, Dud Pare Chong, is that from the unadjusted book balance, we should be able to get the unadjusted bank balance using the same set of reconciling items. So in order to do this, Dud Pare Chong, the treatments for the book reconciling items, in this regard, yung credit memos for the loan and interest, the NSF check, and the debit memo for the service charge, they will be accounted for in the same manner. Ulitin ko ha, in the same manner kung paano sila in-account under the adjusted balance method. Now, the difference lies with the bank reconciling items. So first, since we're aiming to get the unadjusted bank balance, the deposit in transit should be deducted. The reason for this, Dud Pare Chong, is that doon sa ating unadjusted book balance, included ang deposit in transit. So in order to get the unadjusted bank balance, kailangan natin to ibawas. So minus 10,000 pesos. For the outstanding check naman, Dud Pare Chong, ito ay bawas na sa ating unadjusted book balance. So ibig sabihin, we have to add back para makuha ang unadjusted bank balance. So i-add natin ang CV102 and CV105 na may amounts na 20,000 respectively. So now, kung mapapansin mo, Dud Pare Chong, equal na tayo sa balance na nasa bank statement. So ganun lang siya, Dud Pare Chong. Now, we're going to do the bank-to-book method. Dito naman, Dud Pare Chong, what we're aiming for is that from the unadjusted bank balance, we should be able to get the unadjusted book balance using the same set of reconciling items. So in order to do this, Dud Pare Chong, the treatments for the bank reconciling items, in this regard yung deposit in transit and outstanding checks, they will be accounted for in the same manner kung paano sila in-account under the adjusted balance method. Now, the difference lies with the book reconciling items. Ang book reconciling items ay mga transactions na reflected na sa bank balance from the bank statement pero hindi pa recorded sa books ng depositor. So, ibig sabihin, we have to reverse the treatments for this. So, for the NSF check and service charge, dahil bawas na ito sa bank balance pero hindi pa recognized sa books na depositor, we have to add back. So, plus 70,000 and 5,000 respectively. For the credit memo for the loan and interest, hindi pa ito nadadagdag sa books Dud Parechong. So, we have to deduct from the bank balance. So, minus 500,000 and 10,000 respectively. Now, as you can see Dud Parechong, equal na tayo sa unadjusted cash balance per books. And that's it for this video Dud Parechong. If nagets mo ang lesson and you liked how it was presented, comment down, ang dali lang pala ng bank recon. Now, before you go, please don't forget to hit the like button, share this video to your newsfeed, and hit the subscribe button if you want more tutorial videos that are fun and easy to understand, just like this one. You can also follow us in our social media accounts. I put the links to our social media accounts in the description below. Also, if you haven't seen our other videos, the links are in the description as well. So yeah, see you next episode!